What's up, guys? This is Allan Alvarez, aka Cheese, and you guys are watching Behind the Alias.
Sorry, a Hori?
Hori Minipad. Hore, yeah.
I hate the water stages in every game.
Yeah, everybody says it. So, that is exactly the battle. Actually, most people who don't do 120 star, that's the exact reason why they don't do it.
Hey everyone, Jim Buteau, you're watching Behind the Alias. Today, Allan Alvarez Alias Cheese joins me to talk about his career as a Twitch streamer, a YouTuber, but mainly known for being a speedrunner on the game Super Mario 64. He specializes on the 120 stars runs, and he is a former world record owner.
Holy shit! Ah! I don't know if it's world record. Holy shit! No!
So first of all, let's talk about what you specialize in, which are the 120 stars runs. For those who aren't familiar with Super Mario 64 speedrunning, that's for me about a week or two ago. There's multiple categories to compete, and because there's multiple ways to complete the game. Aside from 120 stars runs, there are 0, 1 stars, 16 stars, 70 stars, and 120. Why did you pick 120?
When I started playing Mario, I actually started with 70 star. I immediately kind of figured out that I was really interested in longer categories that basically had more content of the game, you know? And 70 star was not too long, not too short. And I quickly realized that I could probably have learned it pretty quickly. So I kind of went right into it. 3 days it took me, I believe, to learn the 70 star category. And I immediately started doing my first run. And
3 days? That sounds pretty fast.
yeah, it was pretty fast. I mean, I'm a speed runner. I gotta go fast.
I guess. Speed.
So,
I am speed.
So 3 days it took. I did my first run. It was like an hour and a half. And I immediately got addicted. I was like, this is the best thing I've ever done. And I kind of immediately knew I want to do 120 star. I think there's a very clear trend in speedrunning where speedrunners either gravitate towards the long speed runs or to the short any percent runs, right? There are those people who really like the idea of just beating the game as fast as possible, which is, I guess is the very grassroots, clear-cut speedrun mindset or idea of, well, let's just beat in the game as fast as possible. And then there's people like me. Another one that I know for sure is like this is my CLG partner, ZFG, who I started watching when I first found out about speedrunning. I remember he always used to say in his stream, like, the more content, the better. And I always felt the same way. So after 2 months, 2 months after doing 70 star, I immediately started learning 120 star. I said, okay, I'm ready. I feel good enough with the game. So I did 120 star. It took a while to learn because it's much, even though it's only 50 more stars, it's significantly more overwhelming than 70 star. Mostly because of the 100 coin stars. In most Mario games, there's stars that spawn after you get usually 100 coins in stages, right? And they are a lot longer than every other star, a lot more complicated, and a lot more RNG is involved as well, like coin grabbing and stuff like that. So that takes a lot of time to learn those 100 coin stars. And I was what's the word? Invigorated though. When I started doing 120 star, I was like, this is exactly the category I want to do. And I loved it so much that I couldn't stop playing. And then a year later, I broke the world record. So there you go.
It must take a lot of patience. I mean, you make one mistake and you've been running for an hour and then it's all starting all over again. And I personally, I don't think I'd have the patience. And I feel like someone that would be starting and that didn't have the patience would probably straight go to maybe 16 stars or maybe the 1 stars, right?
It basically kind of comes down to what the speedrunner is aiming to do or to achieve and what he's willing to do to get there. Some speedrunners don't really want to be the best in the world. They don't care to get a world record. They just want to reach a certain time, or they want to feel fulfilled with their experience in speedrunning. And usually those people tend to care less about resetting or tend to care less about how good their run is that they're doing. They don't mind too much if they're behind, if they can't PB. They just like to finish runs. They like to feel that experience. And then there's people like me who love torturing myself and have no patience, and I want to be the best. So I'm going to keep starting over until I'm very happy with my speedrun. Now, the problem lies there. Being a human being, our egos get big, and make us. It plants these ideas in our head, like no run is good enough. This sucks. I'm not happy with this. I don't like that mistake, so I'm gonna try again. And that a lot of the time just hinders us from actually getting PBs and world records at the end of the day, because there are countless speedruns that I've resetted because I got upset over a mistake that were more than good enough still that if I just continued, that I probably would have had a chance to get another world record.
And there are no perfect speedruns, right? All the world records, they had some mistakes. Everyone does mistake on. I assume everyone has their stage that is kind of their Achilles, I guess.
Yes, don't get me started on that. Jesus.
Speedrunning requires a lot of precise movements, and you're like button mashing a lot. I mean, probably not as much as playing Melee or any fighting game, but did you injure yourself, or do you think you're prompt to develop carpal tunnel or early arthritis? Or
I also have tendonitis. I was on a semi Mario break, I think, and then EasyScape, who is a pretty popular speedrun YouTuber with around 300,000 subscribers or something, and a very close friend of mine. We've roomed a lot together in speedrun events. He reached out to me on my stream and he said, "Hey, I want to have a challenge with you. I want you to speedrun Super Mario Odyssey for 1 week, and I will donate you $250 for every time you reach certain
milestones."
Milestones, yes, in PBs. And I was like, yeah, of course, I'm down. So me being a speedrunner where I would play all day if it means that I need to get better, I started playing Odyssey. I joined the community. I asked a bunch of questions. I looked a lot of videos. I spent pretty much like 10 to 12 hours a day for that week playing Odyssey, practicing everything I can and doing runs at night. I would practice for like 8 hours and then stream for like 8 hours and do runs, sleep and just do that for a whole week. And I actually hit all the milestones. Every day he was like, all right, try to get this PB tonight. I did. And then I beat every milestone and then some. And then he ended up donating me like $1,000 or $1,500 or something by the end of the week. And it was awesome. But after that week, immediately I started getting these crazy hand pains and I couldn't sleep. My hands were like in pain. I was feeling tingles and stuff all over my hands. And I was like, oh no. And after a while, I went to the physiotherapist and they told me, I mean, I'm pretty sure you have tendonitis, you know, of what you're explaining to me and stuff like that. And they were kind of like, well, tendonitis is just, you're going to have tendonitis. So at this point, it's about maintaining it, managing it. But the reason why I think it happened is because Odyssey's played on the Nintendo Switch, and I used a Switch Pro controller, right? The Switch Pro controller is extremely heavy. I don't really know why. It's extremely heavy. And I'm always used to playing this controller. It's called a Hori mini pad, and it's literally a mini pad, and it's very lightweight.
Sorry, a Hori?
Hori mini pad, Hore. Yeah.
Oh, H-O-R-E. Okay.
Yeah, Hore.
not a Hori.
People always make a joke about that. Hori mini pad, very, very lightweight. This is what I've been used to forever. So suddenly switching to a very heavy controller in a game where a lot of the movement requires you to shake the controller, like in Odyssey, that destroyed my hands. It just got destroyed because of that. But it sounds cheesy, but like Simply said, a lot of this type of pain is it's manageable through strong mentality. If you build up a strong mind, you can fight this pain and deal with it. Of course, there are things that you could physically do, like stretching, which you should always do before or after playing, and icing and stuff like that. But after, you can only do so much icing and stretching. After that, it's accepting the pain and having a strong mindset. And obviously, if it starts giving you issues, then you should take breaks. Take regular breaks and not play for 10 hours straight without stopping.
If we go back to the actual game and the world records and all of that, what makes a world record official? So obviously someone reviews the time, but like, what's the process?
So it's a pretty simple process. The website that everything goes on when it comes to leaderboards and records is just speedrun.com, of course. And every game has its own community. And every community, they kind of choose their moderators. People kind of like sign up to be a moderator, and people, if they've been around for a long time, they know what they're doing and they're trusted. The community kind of agrees, all right, yeah, you can be a moderator, and they would be the ones to look over the runs that are submitted on speedrun.com. And they would verify them according to the rule set that each game has in their community. And in Mario 64, for example, they would have certain rule sets, like it has to be streamed, it has to be, you can't have like a certain adapter used or something. It depends on the game, right? And once everything is set out and the run looks fine and it's not cheated, then that's pretty much it. It gets verified. My first 138, which was a 138.51 in 120 star that happened in mid 2019, was
the
actually
one live.
No, that was the one before it was live. I actually got one before, and it was unverified. It was an unofficial world record on speedrun.com because about 12 minutes or so into the run in the second stage, Jolly Roger Bay, there was like a 20-second part of the run where the game catcher was frozen.
Oh no.
Because my capture card was having issues, right? So because it was 20 seconds of frozen gameplay, it kind of broke one of the rules for verification. So they had to unverify the run, right? So it just happened to get a world record. So it was weird that, oh, we have a world record run, but we can't verify it. So because it was proven to not be cheated, it was accepted as a new 120 star world record, but it was unverified. And that months of memes and questions arose
controversies
from that, and videos and stuff. No, in a nutshell, it's just basically that it's the community choose their moderators, and they kind of
so it's all manually reviewed. They just watch the video and so there's no fancy ways of just verifying it. And your timers. So you play on console, right?
Yep.
How do timers work? So you start them at the same time as you hit reset, or?
Yeah. Every game has their rules. For some reason, Super Mario 64 always just has been start the timer when you turn on the console and not when you start the game on the file select, which makes a lot more sense, right? So you just get used to that. Some games, even Mario 64, have now auto splitter programs. So you download the auto splitters and you set it up with OBS, and it actually auto split. You don't have to ever touch the splits. So it does everything automatically. It splits automatically on the stages and stuff. It's actually amazing.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, because at you guys get those timers at each stage, so you actually hit the button every time. Like you hit a button to do the checkpoint.
I had a button. I had a button to split every time. I could get the auto splitter, And I used to have it, but now since I use a different version of OBS, and quite frankly, I'm just too lazy to set it up. So I do it manually right now.
Are you well known to have discovered any time-saving maneuvers yourself?
What is yes and no together in one word? You know.
You know. Yeah,
So
no.
there have been quite a few strategies in 120 star that I was the first to implement in a RTA setting. RTA basically means real-time attack, which is basically the human speedrun, right? So the speedruns that you see us do, it's called RTA speedruns, because there are other types of speedruns like TAS, tool-assisted speedruns, which is computerized speedruns for like optimized strats sake, or to like find new stuff about the game and stuff like that. But for RTA speedruns, there were a few strategies that existed that had videos of on the internet that I kind of found and practiced and made my own versions of and then implemented into the speedruns, and then other people followed suit. But there were not really any strategies that I found and invented myself that were faster. And the reason is that Mario 64 is the most popular speed game, arguably, out of any other speed game, right? And Mario 64 speedrunning has been around since early 2000s, right? So because of that, almost every strat that you can imagine in that game has already been found.
Yeah.
And there's videos of thousands of Mario strats. And most of them are either too hard or just not fast enough to do in RTA speedruns. But there were those few that I found that were able to work with that ended up being faster. A few examples are like Bomb on Battlefield 100 coin, Big Boo's Haunt 100 coin, which is a big one. It ended up saving like 7 seconds or something, where we changed the strategy, changed the route completely. I mean, there's HMC 100 coin, which me and Simply worked on together to make it a little bit faster. Just small stuff like that. There's never been like a huge discovery, you know, that hasn't already been known years ago before we even started speedrunning, really.
Right. So at that point, you're never looking at new ways to beat the game. You're just trying to perfect your execution. That's all you do, basically, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because Mario 64 is a very linear, already optimized game. It's not like a Zelda game where it's very open world and a lot of crazy glitches are.
You don't have to follow it this way. You can, do it multiple different
exactly.
Things. How much time outside of, say, work and sleep is consumed by your speedrunning? Do you also speedrun when you're not on stream now, or now it's all on stream?
It's mostly on stream now. So when I first started, of course, I spent hours offline practicing because I had to. I wasn't good at the game yet, and I wasn't at the top level. So I had to spend a lot of time practicing, as much time as I spent actually doing speedruns. And I think it's a pretty commonsensical way to think about life. If you want to get good at something, you have to basically spend the time practicing and then spend the time performing, right?
Makes sense.
Music, sports, anything is like that. For music, you got to practice at home, your guitar licks, da 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 da, so that when you go live, you can go and you know what I mean? A lot of people tend to have trouble understanding that. So like, some people might complain and be like, why aren't I getting consistent in the strat? I do runs all the time. And it's like, well, maybe you should stop doing runs and practice a bit more.
It's funny because last week I had TSM Drone and we were talking about, I guess, what's his tips to becoming better. And he's a professional Valorant player. And there's multiple ways that you can play the game. You don't have to be good at everything. But he was saying that people tend to keep doing what they're good at because they're good at it. Instead, they should do the other way around. They should spend all their time focusing on what they're bad at so they get better. But like people, that's just not in their mentality. Let me just keep doing what I'm good at.
Yeah. That also has to do with people being comfortable and being scared to.
So people being complacent, I guess.
Yeah. So it's some of it has to do with people being lazy, unfortunately. Where they're like, I don't want to put in the work to that because it's not as fun. A lot of it actually from personal experience is some parts of a game would be a lot more fun to to practice and to do than other
Yeah.
parts. And that's why we're better at that part, because we always do it because it's more fun.
I hate the water
So-
stages in every game.
Yeah, everybody says it. So like that is exactly the battle. Actually, most people who don't do 120 star, that's the exact reason why they don't do it. They say, "Oh, I hate Jira B and DDD because there's too much swimming and it's boring." And it's like, I don't like it either, but I think the idea of 120 star is awesome. So I'm just gonna have to fight through those stages and make it work because I love 120 star too much.